Digital SA Foundation. Siyathemba nizolijabulela lolu hlelo.
Sanibonani bafundi baka-grade 12 be-computer applications technology. Ngesonto ledlule sikhulume nge-system software na-computer management ukuthi isebenza kanjani ukuthi yini. But remember again, it's very important to understand ukuthi ngakusho khona last week, to understand ukuthi i-system software na-computer management has got a whole lot of marks. Out of 150 you've got 25 marks ophuma nje kuyona kuphela. So even question 1 wakho, question 2 wakho, question 3 wakho uzoqhamuka noma uzoba nazo izinto related to system software na computer management. So ukwazi kwakho it's of great importance. So we're going to look at ama questions ahlukahlukene sike singawabheka manje ukuthi we are dealing with system software or computer management. Now let us look at this very first question. You may find the umbuzo qhamuka azokutshela khona nge-computer systems. Khumbula la sikhuluma system software, see? So computer systems is part of the system software. Computer systems are sometimes bundled with software which protects the data and files on the computer. It starts here. Uma ukuthi umbuzo awu understand ukuthi uthini kuyaqala communicate lapha izinto. I-computer system are sometimes bundled with software that which protects the data. So i-computer systems isuke nama software athile asuke ihambisana nawo as the protect data yakho nama files on the computer. Okay, let us look at the question. Ukuthi izokhuluma ngani i-question based on i-computer systems enama bundled software approtecta i-data yakho into a computer. Izothi umbuzo, name the type of utility program that is used to protect your computer from being accessed over a network. Do not give a brand names. You'll remember again last week we spoke about a utility program. Amongst other utility programs, and ngasho futhi that utility programs programs afana njengani azokuklinela your computer. So even on your phone, utility program azokutshela ukuthi ifoni yakho maybe inama software ongasawasebenzi for a longer period of time. Even ekhaya you need ukuthi ube nama features noma nezinto ezithile ezizokusiza ukuthi ma ukuthi usebenzisa i-computer, usebenzisa umuzi noma udinga ama-detergent. So those falls under ama-utilities. Igama elithi utilities ulubona even noma uya etolo la uthola khona izinto ezi-random nje ezingadliwa. So ma uzothi umbuzo yiphi type of utility program oyisebenzisayo to protect your computer from being accessed over a network. Now remember we spoke about this as well. I even showed you a picture whereby there's an internet here, then there's a wall here, and then there's a computer. So before ube connected to those obuyenza, it will act as a wall as well as a show which it protects you with the computer kungasebenzisi. So it's called a firewall. So there's no brand name given here. You just have to understand that the firewall, it protects your computer from being accessed over the network. Now there are also other functions of an antivirus program. You see, your question again, ibikhuluma ngani ngama bundled software that comes which protects the data and files on the computer. So amongst those softwares, none is an antivirus program. So remember much general functions of an antivirus program. So amongst those general functions, you may find that you are able to scan our storage devices. You are able to scan our emails for virus infections. Any footage ezenzayo i-antivirus, it deletes or it removes any malware esizotholakala ngaphakathi into your computer, or it quarantines. Khumbula ukuthi quarantine isuke ithatha ifaka ngaphakathi, isho ifaka njengejenje, isuke ifaka ngaphakathi so that ingakwazi ukuthi iphumele ngaphandle ukuthi i-infect your computer. Mabe ukuthi ayikwazi uku-remove i-quarantine, mawuthi ayikwazi uku-delete noma uku-cleaner i-quarantine. Now, as anything else we've spoken about this year, there is always an advantage and a disadvantage of something into your computer world. So in this case, I need you to understand disadvantages of an adware. But before you understand about the disadvantage of an adware, do you actually understand what is an adware? Because that is where we are actually failing kakhulu. Ukungayazi adware ukuthi iyini. Now, a disadvantage adware may be i-malware could be hidden within an adware. Ngesikhathi wena ubona i-advertisement be-advertiser uyiclicke kanti usuyiphutha into a risk. It can actually use up data ngaphela sokusebenzisa data while it's actually popping up, or actually you could actually slow it down browsing yakho because now isuke irana right in front of you. So those are disadvantages, but obviously as much as ubuhle bungancane bayo kodwa bukhona. Ngoba umuntu uzokutshela ukuthi le advert engiyibonayo la ku-internet bekade ngazi ngiyibone on TV nelingisizile ngabona ukuthi ebengikade ngidinga. There may be advantages futhi. There are advantages for a graphic card. Give one reason why it is an advantage for a graphics card to have its own memory. Now remember, whenever you are buying a graphic card, you need to understand the law. A graphic card doesn't just come with a graphic card. Also, if I into a slot up a graphic card, it also comes with its own memory. So I'm not reason an advantage for which it improves the graphics or it improves the resolutions. So and if it is the answer, it improves the overall performance of the system, and it does not necessarily share the system memory with other applications or with other hardware. Now remember, it's going to come one memory yayo, noma to come on 2 gig while, 2 gig while loyo, awushare namanye applications osukusebenza noma ezizinto. Isukusebenza basically ngezinto ezinjani ezidinga graphics on its own. So that is an advantage of a graphic card. So it's always advisable ukuthi you need to have more memory, more graphics to buy a graphic card. There are 2 steps that one will need to take to close a non-responsive application. If you remember, we opened the slideshows on last week, whereby task manager sikhulume ngawo kakhulu, whereby task manager sibona khona ama-applications asuke run, ama-applications that are not responding. We also spoke about ukuthi yiziphi indlela zokuvula i-task manager ngokushesha. So you're able to press the control, no alt, no delete. Noma futhi uyakwazi ukuthi u-terminate task esuke ingarespond. So if i-question lakho ibuzima ama-steps ungasebenza to close a non-responsive application is to open the task manager. You may open it using control alt delete, and then once you've opened it, you are able to terminate the task. There are ways you can still use a graphics on your computer even if you take out the graphics card that you have purchased. So you are required to explain why you can still, or how you can still able to use a graphics into your computer graphic card. Now remember, whenever you are buying, forget about the laptop, we're talking about the desktop here. Whenever you are buying a graphic card, various computer servers. So if ever you decide to take off the graphic card, your computer will revert to using an onboard graphic card. The graphic card is a card to go on board. But my go to find memory card or other graphic card, lay onboard graphic adapter, normal onboard graphic card, I will have because usuku any a graphic card onto it. But you can always work no matter what keep it. Now there's also a POS. Now a point of sale, we've also spoken a cool now with the hardware. What comes with a part of software. But the point of sale systems are used in most shops. Do you understand what you need point of sales? So it's one of the things that you need to before open the umbuzo wakho understand ukuthi yini isebenza kanjani. So uzothi umbuzo wena, what are other input devices that can be used by the cashier if the barcode scanner is broken? Now you see, you've got your point of sale whereby you're humble, you're teller, you're telling something. Only to find ukuthi scanner asikwazi ukuthi sisebenze because it's broken. Umbuzo uthi, uyabona ukuthi bingena futhi ku troubleshooting. Umbuzo uthi iziphi izindlela i-cashier engayisebenzisa if i-barcode scanner isebenza. Remember, barcode scanner, it's something that will actually scan your barcode whenever you are using, you want to buy something into a shop. So abantu basebenzisa keyboard, or you can actually use the touch screen, or you can actually use the mouse on the keyboard to click whatever device you with, because the mouse is able to type a positive and then bese usebenzisa mouse ukuthi uyiclick nje sekuyidinga and then iya pop up ukuthi nazi into esuyithenga noma sikuthawa umuntu ngasikhathi leso so cash will be able to use it. Now talking about point of sale systems la where will the price need to be corrected if it is noted that the price of a product that has been scanned on the post system is incorrect. La umbuzo mude kodwa uthi umbuzo inini la i-price yakhona may need to be corrected uma ukuthi kunothekile ukuthi i-price yale product le esikusiskeniwe ayisiyona le price kumele ngabe kuba yiyona khona. So what needs to happen is an update of the record of the item kwi-system mele yenziwe ku-database mele yenziwe noma ku-server mele yenziwe. So uma ukuthi ne-item ethile sibonakala ukuthi ingazothilana ayihambisani ne-price yakhona, one has to update the post system or one has to update the database or a server. What does a site license allow a user to do? Okay, we did not touch with last week a site license, but amongst chapter 8 lesebenza ngayo kunesibiza ngo-site license, nesibiza ngama-personal licenses noma ama-user licenses, whereby a user can actually able to use i-license endaweni asuke esebenza ngayo esuke nama-computers angaphezu ka-5 noma ngaphezu ka-2 noma even awu-10 noma awu-20. So i-site license, it allows an installation of the software on all devices within the company. So we only buy one CD and then we're gonna say we use it the company to Ithala platform. So what happens after that is I don't have to buy a license for all of these computers that are part of the Ithala platform. I only buy one, I pay for one license that will allow me to install the software and working on my devices now and a part into a company. Obviously the price will differ with a license a user you order with license a personal user or your individual user. Why would a user open the task manager if his computer is running very slow? Task manager at times now the program yako it's not opening. We are able to open the task manager. When it's not responding, we are able to open the task manager. And once you've opened the task manager, once you want to file so you run at this particular time, then once you close as well respond. So one will actually need to open the task manager for one reason, to check what the program is run, to check my background processes, no check what yini into the computer yake ibe slow. Nokuthi mawuthi ne program SQL ziba slow ukuthi ukwazi ukuyivala. That will be the only reason why one need to open a task manager. Now bese siba nama memories ke amabili esiba nawo futhi under RAM. We spoken about RAM kaningi in our previous lessons, but then we also spoken about volatile, the non-volatile memory. I think you may actually remember it. Bekusakhuluma ngane ngama hardware ukuthi yini volatile and yini non-volatile. But to answer the question here, we have to say what is it that what does the term volatile mean when referring to RAM? So RAM will lose its contents when the computer is switched off in a power or if ever the computer gets into a power failure. So mabe ukuthi memory yakho sike volatile isuke ngamagama ingeke izocisha noma ngeke computer zenzeka mabe ukuthi sike sivalekile. While mabe ukuthi non volatile noma bethiwa your computer is switched off noma bethiwa you've experienced a power failure kodwa mabe ukuthi siyavula computer yakho then content yakho will always be available for you to work with. So remember, volatile and non-volatile basebenza kanjani. Because this question doesn't only work here. There was a question 1, the question 2, the question 9, or question 10 at the end of your question. Last of general questions, of which we'll look at those previous question papers. Sibone ukuthi question there wathi kanjani, because if you am ukuthi abantu abaningi they don't even get into question 9, they don't even get into question 10, only to find ukuthi nakhona futhi kunama marks amaningi abantu that may score abadinga bengazange bazafika kubona ukuthi bawascorisha, because they take a lot of time here on these questions akudinga ngabascorishela ama marks anele, but not this question. State 2 ways in which a user authentication can take place on a smartphone. Now remember, with the authentication, it's whereby we are able to identify someone, i-originality yakho ukuthi uyena ngempela yini. So izibindlela ezingasetshenziswa to identify umuntu on a smartphone or to check ukuthi le user le iyona ngempela umnikazi walowo phone leyo. One has to know the PIN code, obviously, or the password. So mawuthi awuyazi, you may not be authenticated. The fingerprint scanner is the most obvious thing. Angeke ukuthi mayifakwa omunye umuntu ingasebenzi ngifakwa omunye umuntu isebenze. So it's always advisable ukuthi understand ukuthi it's one of the ways a user may actually able to authenticate themselves. Or obviously a pattern unlock. Officially iyafana ne PIN code noma ne password, whereby one has to draw a pattern on the screen. Give 2 reasons why email attachments are often not set to automatically download on mobile devices such as smartphones. Now remember, email attachments you'll be sent or receive an email eqhamuka nama attachment, but wonke ama cellphone lo attachment yakhona ngeke uzuyithola singenile noma sidownloadekile. It's always set like that. So umbuzo uzothi what are the reasons why an email attachment are often not set to automatically download? So the main reason yakho will be to reduce the cost of its data usage. Another reason will be it often have a limited storage space. Nokuthi ke futhi always ama-threat of malware. So uma ukuthi download le attachment yakho le, you download it where at your own risk nokuthi vele download wena automatically. Noma download wena based on ukuthi umuntu osuke send email usukumenzani usukumthemba. There are also ways to reduce the power consumption. So uma uthi is download yona, the power consumption will be actually higher. Let's sikhuluma nge-driver program. It's one of the things as well that always comes out. It has always been there, whereby one has to understand most common drivers. I've actually seen this question almost every year whenever it comes to an exam. Understand ukuthi ama-drivers noma-driver program umsebenzi wayo uyafana njenge-translator. It will tell you ukuthi lesigubhu lesi ukuze sizosebenza sisebenza kanjani. So wena, for you to complete with this sigubhu isebenzisa lo uzomtranslate ukuthi usebenza kanjani. So ngamagama, it allows the operating system to communicate with the device. So uma ukuthi kana ngi-installe noma ngithenge a new printer, my operating system may not understand how does this printer works. How does the printer print? So once ngafaka ama-drivers will communicate the printer with my operating system with the print. Then I send the information to the printer. Now I'm able to communicate with the devices because of a driver program. There are advantages. Then there are disadvantages. This it must take in your head. This you must always remember. I think we can even apply this thing in real life now, because what advantages and disadvantages running our into our lessons on the year. So the question is, state 2 advantages for notebook computers going into a sleep mode. Again, if you do not understand this mode, then it becomes difficult for you to answer the question, what is a sleep mode? What's a sleep mode? So it becomes even more easier for you to answer the question. Even though I want a question, even though I answer the question, more just to sleep mode. So the notebook computers which is sleep mode, it saves on a battery life. Users can pick up where they left, because the sleep mode is file to the computer. What do you say? Our program it also extends the lifespan components into your computer, and automatic security measures if a user is away from notebook and a password biometric features necessary to activate it. So this means for a particular period of time. So what's going to happen is what with him or it will require the person the password biometric features. So but again remember bukhona nobubi bakhona. Now, kufanele ubazi. Explain the term backward compatibility. Now this is another question that I've actually seen a couple of years forward compatibility and backward compatibility. Now backward compatibility now usho newer versions of software or newer versions of hardware will work with support or will work with older versions or will support older versions of software or hardware. It's a backward compatibility. Njengamanje uma ukuthi ngivula my Windows or my Office 2021, my Office 2019, into esuke irane noma esuke yakhandwa ngo-Office 2010 ngizokwazi ukuyivula because it's compatible with something that has been done before. So it's compatible, it will support older versions of our software. It will support hardware that have been used before. Kodwa ke if forward compatibility now isho ukuthini? Isho ukuthi something engiyisebenzisayo ngo-2010 angikwazi ukuthi izinto ezintsha kuyona zikwazi ukuthi okay, let's make this easy. Kunomuntu njengamanje osebenzisa i-Office u-2010 kodwa njengamanje mina ngivule u-2019. So lo muntu lona osebenzisa ngo-2010 manje uyayivula into yami ngiyiseve ngo-2019 uzoba, so it has to be forward compatible. Izokwazi ukuvuleka le nto because i-compatibility yakhona ayikwazi ukusebenzisana. So the term backward isho ukuthi into esuke indala izokwazi ukuvuleka noma wethiwa kana yenziwa kudala ngale nto yami yamanje, but into esuke ngeyamanje ngeke izikwazi ukuvulwa ivulwe into esuke indala. So your 2010 may not able to open the file esuke ikhandwe ngo-2019, or else if it opens you may find that it's not compatible enough, or even better you may find ukuthi kunezinto ezithile kunama-features athile osuke ngeke usawathola kuleyo program leyo uma ukuthi uyayivula ngaso isikhathi leso. There are examples of accessibility software or accessibility software. This we've spoke about it with chapter yethu yama-software, accessibility software nama-features akhona ukuthi asebenza kanjani. So you see, that is why ngichazile indaba yale chapter le ukubaluleka kwakhona ukuthi izofika ifake u-hardware ifake u-software, it all falls under this particular chapter. Mabe ukuthi you don't understand the system software, lama questions la ngikwazi uwaphendula. So ama-questions lawa azo-apply entweni eningi kakhulu and it will score you a great deal of more marks. So uthi umbuzo lana, give 3 examples of accessibility software features that are part of the operating system. Yini accessibility software? Ama-software that actually helps into ukusebenza kwama-computer noma ukusetshenziswa kwe-computer, especially kuma-users asuke enama-challenges are-physical. So it may be a magnifier whereby umuntu into ethile akayiboni kahle. It may be a speech recognition whereby umuntu akaboni kahle or need ukuthi imfundele lento le asuke eyibuka ukuze imtshele ukuthi isuke ithini. And then mawuthi umuntu unenkinga mhlawumbe ne-keyboard, you have an on-screen keyboard whereby one is able ukuthi asebenzise i-keyboard using a mouse. Bese siba nama-narrator nama-auto descriptions, something that will describe to you into esuke yenzeka into your computer. Obviously siba nama-sound warning asekhona-ke nasemotweni-ke whereby mawuthi unento ethile osuke uyipressa izokutshela ukuthi usuke uyipressile isuke i-wrong. Noma nama-themes azoba nama-high contrast ukuze mawuthi unenkinga futhi again yamehlo uzokwazi ukuthi udile into efana lezo. But this falls under accessibility softwares. So it's very important. You can always go back to your software part esasikade senzile kuqala ngonyaka. You remember it sayenza kakhulu futhi now. Now uzokhama kumbuzo uthi one of the functions of the operating system is to provide a user interface. We spoke about this last week, graphical user interface. So uzothi umbuzo, give 2 additional basic functions of the operating system. So here what do we do? Here the operating system will manage memory. The operating system will manage input and output devices. Your operating system will coordinate, manage tasks as well as programs. Iyona futhi operating system ezo manage a disk and provide basic securities. bese siba nama-functions of a UPS. So i-UPS izofola under the part esikhuluma ngayo ukuthi sibe nama-power failures whereby total manje ama-devices ethu ama-hardware ethu asuke seyafeyile. So siqale ngayo earlier on ukuthi kunezinto ey'thile ezingenza ukuthi ama-devices ethu afeyile. So amongst those things sibheke ukuthi azofeliswa ukuthi kunama-power failures. So the minute you can power failure, whatever device wesebenzisayo, it may actually run out total hours sebenza. So UPS understand what is UPS, what does it stand for as well. Even though it's very rare, what does UPS stands for. But it's an uninterrupted power supply where you be provided with the temporary backup power during our power failures. So when you are able to save whatever while it's working, and then this you have to close in time when it's cut. It also protects the computer from power surges, from power fluctuations or from power dips. So it's very advisable that one should actually have it whereby you know the story has come. Discuss 2 reasons why a presenter will use a data projector instead of a monitor while presenting. So there may be many reasons than just some reasons why umuntu angasebenzisa i-data projector. And I do not expect ukuthi nomuntu ongayazi i-data projector ukuthi yini. So the display can be used for a larger groups of people. Image size can also be varied. So uyakwazi uku-adjust size yakhona uma uthi usebenzisa i-data projector. Nokuthi display yakho futhi it can actually display kuma-surfaces asuke ehlukahlukene. It-data projector futhi is easier to move or is easier to carry around, particularly nama-sizes amaningi asuke ehlukahlukene. Bese kuba khona u-HDMI no-VGA cables. So these are one of the things as well esike sayibheka kakhulu kuma-hardware, whereby one has to understand ama-advantages HDMI nama-advantages e-VGA. Ama-disadvantages HDMI noma ngamaningi noma ngawazi, nama-disadvantages e-VGA wona kodwa akhona. So here you have to explain ama-advantages e-HDMI over e-VGA cables uma ukuthi you are connecting your television to a computer. Number 1, the signal results are in better audio. The quality of the video is higher. The HDMI, it enables a better quality images or a better quality display. It transmits both audio and video at the same time. It's also faster to transfer that. Remember, if it's a motor into your laptop or into your computer or into your TV, that you may still need to connect your audio cable or your aux. But HDMI is going to way too low. The quality of the video is higher. That is why it's called high definition. It's higher to 7 as in compared to EVGA. Obviously, there was always good while we had it EVGA cables, but now it's thing of the past. We've also seen 3D printers coming around, even though they have not been as popular as it was expected. Now there are reasons why 3D printers are not commonly used in a home office other than the cost. So you've actually looked at those reasons, and people have come up with this into it's not multifunction. Ngamagama awukwazi ukuthi umuntu une-3D ukwazi ukuthi uscan, ucopy, uphinde futhi uprint on a paper. So any of reasons manje abantu abayisebenzise kuma-home office. Nokuthi futhi ke lama-home office, ama-users ama-home office, they do not need to print ama-3D models, because ama-3D printers asuke print any ama-3D models. Another thing that may actually be a problem why ama-3D printers are not used in home office is emissions. So emissions may be possibly be toxic. So it becomes smellier, noma i-order yakhona iba a little bit higher, because when we print our models akhona sikuzwa printer. So office we may find ukuthi sekuyanuka kunuka lezi sike ziprintwe in 3D. There are also reasons why one would choose to buy an office suite instead of purchasing various applications by different software developers other than cost. When we go back to the software, we also spoke about installation. ama-installation online, ama-app installation nama-installation usukwasebenzisa mabe ukuthi usukuthenga ama-disk to install ama-software nama-applications. But to add on that one, there is also something esibiza nge-office suite. Now senze example yakhona ukuthi i-office suite igama hence usithi igama ngathi likhuluma ngosuite. Nama-software amaningi asuke khona ngaphakathi kuyona ngaphansi kuyona kunokuthi ube ne-software esuke yodwa. So i-example yethu will be Microsoft Office. So Microsoft Office suite will come with your Word, with your Excel, with your database, with your PowerPoint. Now with Teams as well as there are also amanye angena ngaphansi kwa i-office suite or even Outlook. So the reasons why you choose to buy an office suite instead of purchasing ama-applications ahlukahlukene would be the office suite applications and similar graphical user interface and a similar environment. So you've noticed ukuthi uma ukuthi uvula i-Excel uyayibona iyafana ne-Word, uyayibona iyafana ne-PowerPoint. So ubuhle bakhona bulapho ukuthi uthenga ngawani ihlukahlukene from ama-different software developers. It's easy to share data between our applications, the integration of data. You may have already seen it with database whereby no import, no export. We call it none of the Excel because integration is there alone. It's the same developer. Wongam applications are available from a single installation. So I'll deal with one installer one. Only a single update required for all applications. You go local developer who update a order, update. So I update automatically. We update. There are possible causes why an application stops responding. So I've spoke about how to close a non-responsive application. But what could be a problem? Most of the time, it may be system resources. It's part of the reasons why e-computer may actually slow down. It's also part of the reason why a software may not respond. So if you do not have enough RAM to run application, or you lack disk access, or there are too many applications running in the background, or applications in the process are actually updating, you may actually find yourself ukuthi uzobanani application enga respond. Uma ngabe ukuthi une lack of network access noma connectivity, your application may not respond. If ever there is a hardware malfunction, sabona RAM yakho noma CPU yakho is overheating, that can also cause the application to stop responding. If ever there is a corruption of the software, sabona software yakho faulty noma there is a bug, that also may be a cause of an application software not responding. Most of the time as well, we are told someone has actually hacked a software or there is an infection of a virus. So it may actually make an application respond. Now let's talk about again the system software, the application software, no pictures whereby it may be manipulated into a graphic editor and then saved. Here you are to give reasons why isithombe suke siseviwe now singadisplay in a blurred, or it may not be in a clear as it was before before edit or before manipulate. So you always have to understand this thing, especially because in most of the time fanele ukuthi wazi edit, fanele wazi most editing isithombe fanele sisale sinjani, nokuthi what's an idea behind you editing the picture. The picture size was increased or the pixelations were increased. Now remember, uma go to picture size wakho unyusiwe, isithombe sakho may actually lose ama-pixels because suke sesinwebeka. It was saved at a lower resolution. While you are manipulating your picture, while you are editing the picture, uma ukuthi usuyasave your resolution lower, then it may actually lose the quality. It may be blurred or it may not be clear. It was saved in a different file format as in compared to how it was opened. It may actually be blurred or it may not be as clear as it was. The aspect ratio the sharpness is software in the contrast of the picture. It may actually compromise the quality storm. lastly futhi ke i-graphics yakho mhlawumbe ukuthi ufake ama-graphic effects isithombe sakho siyaba blurred noma siyaba unclear. The word convergence has always been my favorite term when it comes to computer applications technology. And we've also spoken about convergence while we were dealing with your hardware. Convergence. We've also spoken about green computing while we were dealing with the software. So again, I emphasize the importance of this question it actually covers a whole lot of things into your paper. So you need to understand it very, very thoroughly. So you always remember convergence isikhathi samanje asingivumeli ukuthi ngikukhumbuze convergence uthini, ngikukhumbuze green computing uthini, because those are the things that is spoken about kaningi kakhulu. But maybe you'll pick it up masesikhuluma ngokuthi how convergence contributes to green computing. This is the reason. There are fewer resources, there are fewer materials such as the soil. So ngamagama i-convergence asisebenzisa into eningi ngoba yonke into isuke ihlangene isuke isiyodwa. So that way i-green computing iba success. Nokuthi there's a less going to landfills, so there's a less e-waste with the convergence. Nokuthi there are fewer emissions ngamagama in terms of manufacturing and in terms of transportation. Asisenze into eningi ngesikhathi esisodwa mawukuthi siyamanufacture, so i-emissions izoba fewer. Notice if there's less power, there's less electricity being consumed. Hence now you don't use the name to consume power, to consume electricity. So convergence contributes a whole lot to green computing. I hope you've actually remembered to put green computing, the convergence, what is it? Now there are two ways in which a printer can be connected to a computer. We've also looked at our printers in how they send umsebenzi wakho into a print job. We've also looked at last week ukuthi i-printer yakho iba nani nespola i-memory yakho computer, whereby you are able to even send umsebenzi on your computer even ungayixhumile i-printer, kodwa mase usufika futhi ekhaya wenzani ukwazi ukuthi usuxhuma i-computer umsebenzi uqhubeka uprinteke. So indlela ezimbili esingayisebenzisa, okay, let me reread. Name two ways in which a printer can be connected to a computer. It's a given mark. We are pure ngamase ukuthi awazi wena ukuthi mawukuthi uconnecta i-computer to a printer kufanele kufake USB cable. Amanye ama-cables asebenzisa ama-wireless connectivity, so you may use a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi or a near-field communication. Amanye ungaxhuma kuphi kwi-Ethernet cable noma on a wired network. So these are the questions that actually comes in hand for you to score amasamani, because they always come. There are also possible causes of a printer not working even though it is switched on and online. This again falls under troubleshooting. These are the questions that one actually has to understand, because these are the questions that you may not actually find it most of the time in your book, but you have to use a general knowledge. But obviously you find this in your book, hence the on this part of the lesson. Any other reasons why your printer may not work even though it may be that drivers, the word driver, drivers are not installed. Another part may be there's no paper in the tray, or in college paper size is selected, so it may not print. Noma ukuthi ipaper lijamile, or else ink noma ithona isuke isiphelile, or else i-print job yakho isuke ipauziwe in the queue, noma i-cable is not connected, etc. But there are many ways of many reasons why you may find with i-printer yakho ayisebenzi even though it's switched on and online. Advantages. There are advantages and disadvantages of anything in computer world. But German speak convergence. Convergence level foot. What are the two advantages of a convergence for an ordinary user? One, a greater functionality on one device. So manje awudingi ukuthi uthatha ama-device amaningi ahlukahlukene uwasebenzise. So i-functionality manje kuphi ise-device eyodwa. Interoperability of some devices. So manje uyawazi ukuthi usebenzisa amanye ama-device. So iyafana nje manje ngo-greater functionality on one device. So it's cheaper to buy one device esibuzokwazi izinto esiweziningi. There's a less clutter on desk space. Ngeke uthi ngikwazi ukuthi ngithenge iradio la, ngikwazi ngithenge icamera laphaya, ngikwazi ukuthi ngithenge something else ezokwazi ukuthi kodwa bangabe ukuthi yonke le nto yami lesenza convergence, everything yenza njani iba into one, so it saves space on a desk. And also there's more efficient than using multiple. It's more efficient than using multiple devices. Okay, now as an image below, so I believe what everyone knows what does that image means. So identify the image below that appears on a school's newsletter and explain how it will be used by referring to a suitable example. So that is a QR code. So a QR code says to scan, usually by a cell phone, to reveal the text or to reveal the information it contains. So it may be a link to a particular website, or it may actually open something of an information as we call a. So I believe which everyone has seen that code and everyone understands it and everyone has actually used it at least once in their lifetime. Explain the difference between a software bug and a virus. Now a bug is an error or it's a mistake with programming code or software. Now it's not a virus. So while people were programming or while people were developing a code, so there's an error there, it's called a bug. While a virus is a software, it can do. Unfortunately, deliberately, will cause malicious intentions. So just to corrupt the data, just to corrupt the software, this is related to that. Explain how an Android phone differs from a Windows phone besides cost or the fact that they are made by different companies. So I know of a friend who prefers a Windows apps. Unfortunately, like I said, it's a Windows phone, because it's an Android phone. But there are ways one can actually able to differentiate between an Android phone and a Windows phone, besides some cost. An Android phone is an open source software. So the operating system is opened, while a Windows phone is a proprietary software. Normally operating system is proprietary. It's not an open source, no, it's not open. So it's we've spoken about a proprietary operating system, we've spoken about an open source operating system with softwares. So that is not open, which is might discuss within open source in a proprietary operating system. What does it mean if a printer is marked as a default printer? You may see this mark go to your handle printer, go to your printer. Ukuthi iprint isuke i-default. Now igama lika-default alisebenzisi nje kuphela ku-printer, liyasebenza nasentweni ethile nje into your computer, into your phone, whereby you're opening a file a-PDF, kuvuleke i-Adobe Reader, whereby you're opening a file a-Word, kuvuleke i-Microsoft. So it's by default, those apps are actually able to run, to open those files. So in the case of printer, task printer, they will be automatically be sent to the printer unless another printer is selected. So when the printer is automatically or is a default printer, you want the printer automatically to be sent to the printer. Unless we will also print, we should select another printer, then it won't print the printer that is set as a default. There are advantages of scheduling software updates to run at night. We also spoke about updates as well last week. Obviously, at times you may find which update bugs, bugs but it's very rare because the update with something in mind, which what was missing, and then there's always a better version of an update than what you've actually seen before. So advantages ukuthi uschedule software updates ukuthi at night, ukuthi it uses bandwidth at a time when there's a low demand for bandwidth from the system. So ngamagama go faster ukuthi usebenzisa ebusuku ngoba i-demand isuke njani, isuke ingekho as high as it is nokuthi there will be no updates running on the machines during working hours ezikwazi ukuthi siloada i-computer while abantu basuke beyisebenzisa i-computer. It will not be asked to restart the computer for the installation of updates while they are using the computer for other tasks during working hours. So akekho umuntu osuke esebenza ngesikhathi leso ecommuting whereby uzothola ukuthi i-community izofuna ukuthi i-restart i-computer. So abantu abasebenzisa i-computer ngesikhathi leso sebeba ne-problem. So it's easier ukuthi uyirane kuphi at night. There are possible ways to improve the computer performance without placing any hardware or without replacing any hardware. So with this card says we improve the computer performance. Just as I last week, you may need to have RAM, you may need to have a hard drive, you may need to have a CPU. But the corners here for this IC70 improve performance of computer. So screaming of fragmentation or defragmentation. When your hard drive is fragmented, it will slow down the computer. So you may need to defragment it. We also spoke about it this cleanup as it falls under utilities. What if you may need to remove malware, you may need to delete unused files, or to reinstall the operating system, to reduce the number of programs that run in the background. Number of programs allotted whenever your computer starts. That may actually improve your computer performance. You may actually even need to update your software or drivers, or use software packages or software versions that are less resource intensive. Because in packages are versions are software are some resources intensively. So you may actually understand those one of which you are told and like task manager. You may also need to format the hard disk drives, or you may actually need to reinstall. But there are many ways to improve computer performance apart from or replace the hardware. There are two advantages. I'm starting to worry much about disadvantages as in compared to advantages. But there are two advantages of using web-based applications instead of applications installed locally on your computer. I've spoken about this in the hint earlier on into this lesson. But again, mobile back onto your software. So we've spoken about software now was written or installed locally, software as web-based. So what are the advantages of web-based? Well, let's start with the disadvantages. To a web-based application, you may need to be connected online. So you don't have data, you don't have access to online facilities. I was to say I'm a web-based. It's a main disadvantage in a web-based application. But obviously, any disadvantage less software run. You may actually host a company. The company ngenze ukuthi ivaleke, ngenze ukuthi your data expose the company yakho, data suke private, because igcina usuku njengoba sikuhost abanye abantu usuke ungenayo guarantee information yakho le. But other than that, advantages web-based application ukuthi it can be accessed anywhere on any computer as long as you have an internet access. Space sakho on your local machine is being saved. Nokuthi web-based applications are updated automatically ngoba usukuvule kuphi usuke online, unlike usuke installed into your computer. Nokuthi there are always better integration with cloud storage. Nokuthi there's always a reduced demand with local processor ngoba usuke uyenza on web. There's always a cross-platform because a browser is being used onto the internet. You may also need to create an electronic copy of a printed document, but do not have access to a scanner. So this falls under a scanner. It also falls under a printer as well, or under a soft copy or a hard copy. There are ways to create an electronic copy of the document without using a scanner. How would you do that? So one will actually take a picture with the camera, take a picture with a smartphone, or take a picture with a tablet. Engazange scale. But then again, esikhathini samanje amafoni asebenzisa siphuma nama-scanners, so you don't necessarily need to have isicela sakho esijwayelekile esikhulu whereby uzofaka khona amaphepha akho khona phezulu. Okay, amanye ama-questions that I bumped into that may not necessarily refer to questions, they may actually repeat what you've spoken about. But I've added these questions so that it may actually help us to understand even further about the system technologies. Smartphones are devices that show the trend of convergence within computing devices. Name 2 more devices which may fall within the convergence trend. So when I talk about convergence, it becomes a little bit easier for you to answer such questions. Convergence, you understand the or if you understand terms so ngaphandle kwe-convergence ama-smartphones kunamanye ama-devices asebenza i-convergence noma i-convergence trends. What are those devices? Now remember, singasebenzisa i-smart TV sinezinto engaphezu kweyodwa manje. Akusafani nakuqala sasiba khona i-TV kuphela. Usuyakwazi ukwenza ezinye, usuyakwazi ukubrowse i-internet on your TV, usuyakwazi ukufaka your memory stick ubukele something on your TV. And then there are also ama-fridge manje asikusekhona that actually has got ama-monitors ana-access futhi ye-internet. Kunama-gaming consoles futhi okwazi ukuthi ubrowse ngawo i-internet other than just to play. So akusiyona kuphela ama-smartphones that have come up with the trend yani ye-convergence. There's also a way to integration. So le gama ke-integration liyasebenza ku-software, liyasebenza futhi nakuma-hardware. But in this case, your question would be, how could the integration of input modes be used to help secure your pet project on the server or computer in the computer center? So because I think at one time I've had a learner on understanding ability integration is I think umbuzo wakade camera yethu uthi camera yethu le webcam is integrated into a laptop. So umbuzo lapho uthi what does integration mean? So lelihlangene impendulo wazi isho ukuthi camera yakho lehlangana nani, ihlangane is built ngakho akusiyona camera efakayo oyibeka phezulu, is built into the device, no, is built into a laptop. So in this case umbuzo uzothi lana integration nama input modes so how can it be used to help secure your pet project on the server or on the computer in the computer center? It can by forcing a user to use multiple input devices or to prove his or her identity, such as printer. See, our questions are matter lawa I didn't care because they actually tend to understand the question of what it is. So, how could the integration of input modes be used to help secure your pet? You have your pet that you need it secured. So now for you to open that particular pet, you have to use modes amaningi ahlukahlukene. Hayi nje yodwa kuphela, amaningi ahlukahlukene kodwa integration. So then it comes back to I can actually use multiple devices to prove identity. I can use a facial scan. Once you have a facial scan, then some fingerprint. Then we can add any password up. So you see now these are all integration. So I've got to service in the other pair. From services in the daily, no matter the reason why a webcam would not be suitable to take pictures or photographs at a prestigious event, a prize giving. So what are those reasons? Obviously, it may be a webcam resolutions they are a little bit lower and they cannot be used without being attached into a computer. So reasons now. Let's see whether a community OCR. Again, this question used to be a thing. Now maybe with time OCR or this one are cool. But here you are asked to explain how the resolution of a scan might affect the OCR process. Now remember, OCR is a software process that takes a scanned copy of a document, basically our converter, it was into an editable text. So if what is scanned is of a low resolution, the software will not be able to recognize the text and then it will not be able to convert it to an editable text. So it's very important to understand the resolution yakho scan yakho kumele high ukuze affect the OCR process. The principal would like to install a voice recognition system to open a safe at school. However, only his voice will be allowed to open it. why should he also allow a second or even a third person to be able to access the safe via voice recognition? So the reason is principal manje usenenkinga ye-flu noma ivoice yakhe asasebenzi kahle abangeke baze bakwazi ukuthi bayivule safe. So to allow a second or a third person, it will allow omunye umuntu wesibili noma wesithathu ukuthi akwazi ukuthi ayivule i-safe. These are descending order of a storage sizes. So now into engangi-emphasize kakhulu uma sila ku-hardware usize wakho wezinto ku-understand kakhulu bakhona, not just ukuthi no-Blu-ray yazi inkulu, i-DVD yazi ukuthi yona elandelayo, i-CD yazi ukuthi yona elandelayo. How much size is a CD? How much size is a DVD? I-Blu-ray iwubala usize wakhona. So those are the things that I emphasize ukuthi abafundi bahlezi bezazi ukuze ungazukunikeza i-problem. Even when you are buying a memory stick, funa uku-understand memory stick ukuthi ungana umsazi wakhona. Even when you are buying a phone, funa uku-understand ukuthi ifone yakho inganani internal memory yakhona, inaso neslot sani se-TV se-memory card. If you were to recommend that the staff make use of a cloud storage to bring documents to school from home, what would be your reason? So you need to understand, or you need to let people understand ukuthi i-cloud storage isebenza kanjani nokuthi why would they actually use the cloud storage mabe ukuthi bayisebenzisa to bring ama-documents abo to school. Obviously for obvious reason, i-cloud storage yenza it makes use of a storage space on other servers through the internet. So ngamagama othisha bakwazi uku-access ama-files ey'ngane from any computer esuke-connected ku-internet, nokuthi there is no chance ukuthi umuntu angashiya umsebenzi wakhe ekhaya kwi-flash drive because usuke usave kuphi on the cloud, so it's always there. Keylogging. Now keylogging iyangena ngale ngaphansi kwama-malware esisakhuluma ngawo, whereby it's a type of a spyware that records every keystroke on your keyboard. Now there's also a difference between a patch and a service pack. This is very important for you to understand. Now a patch is a small piece of a programming code ecandela to fix a specific problem within a software component, while the service pack is a selection of patches that are combined into one download for easy installation. So a patch is okay, this is a particular problem. Now let's special the problem then. Now this is a particular problem. Now I see special the problem. Let's special the service pack is all about patches. I can say you are going to one download for good was to one install aluminium. So that is how it actually differs. But the programming your corner is to get fun and the idea is to be fun. We go to patches will go in there water as well still on at a particular time. While a service pack is seen as the Swiss in a paradigm zone, hence it's called a pack. There's also something similar as a UCD, whereby a philosophy aims developers to create a software, the applications or website that meet the needs and the wants of the user. So it's user-centered design. So it was designed with someone in mind. So whenever you're designing something, you know that this particular person needs this particular user wants this. Okay, now again, I do believe this will be the main or the most important question of your exam, other than question 9, no question 10. Aba figure very 3 hours usuka 10, but again, most of people but but the question that we understand, your question 9 your question 10 your question 1 and question 12, question 3 will actually come from this question. If I were to ask you, I will even ask you to start with this question so that you even find the answers according to your question, according to this question. But other than that, next week we're going to do a revision of the paper. We're going to take the maybe 2020-2019 and see how far it takes us. And for a day, we should call it now a day. We should call it a day. I believe on our theory paper, and again, all the best for your final exam in all subjects, because we're going and all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Ningakhohlwa ukuthi nisengathokozela ezinye izifundo eziyisithupha kanye nezengeziwe i-learner wellness, i-career guidance kanye ne-advanced program. Hlanganyela nathi kwizifundo ezi-online ku-068 151 1072 noma ku-GoDigi@godigitalsa.today. Siyabonga.